I have $60,000 worth of car debt with about 30,000 of that being in negative equity.
What kind of car do you drive and what's your payment?
It's a Ram 3500 dually and it's $1,300 a month.
We bought a $40,000 car that we absolutely could not afford and had to trade it in 9 months later.
Okay, so today I'm bringing you guys another car payment video because now I'm hearing news that completely contradicts each other when we're talking about the car market. With the recent news of the auto workers getting laid off, more people pulling back because they're worried about the economy, they don't want to spend $70,000 on a pickup truck. Right after that, I see news about car sales exploding in the month of April. I start looking stuff up myself and I still see tons of videos of people paying insane prices for their vehicles, then realizing it was a mistake at the end of the day. But we have a lot of different examples to go over today, along with some of your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But you know what we have to start off with, the classic for this series.
What kind of car do you drive and what's your payment?
Ram 3500 dually and it's $1,300 a month.
Wrangler 1148 a month. We got that 570S, 3100. Drive a Hellcat, my monthly payment is $1,227.
What car do you drive and what's your payment?
I drive a 2024 RS e-tron GT. That one is $1,400 a month. I have a 2024 RS3. That one is $1,300 a month. I have a 2025 SQ6. That one is $740 a month. And a 2024 Q5, and that one's $609 a month.
Oh my god! What car do you drive and what's your payment?
I drive a 2024 Audi S5. My payment is $680.
Okay. Hey Pedro, what car do you drive and what's your payment?
I drive a Q7, man. Payment's $970.
Prestige luxury.
Prestige, babe.
And my name is Tristan. I drive a 24 SQ8 e-tron and my payment is $910.
So right off the bat, you could take this as face value and clearly a terrible financial decision, or it's just bait. But these people still know exactly what they're doing, throwing out absolutely ridiculous numbers. Probably don't need a 3500 dually if you're just sitting in an office chair. I mean, somebody said they had a McLaren. I barely believe that. The other guy with over $4,000 a month in payments with a whole bunch of different Audis, even if it was for his entire family. But clearly these get attention and views, and after you see it for a long period of time, you think that $500 or $600, $700 car payment isn't nearly as bad because it's not $1,400 a month. And especially from what a lot of people are feeling with the economy, not spending as much money, you'd probably think that I'm getting these clips from years ago. This isn't happening anymore, Zach. But the second half of that clip with the Audi dealership, I found that video 19 hours after it was uploaded. This is definitely still happening to this day.
$929.99 a month. $660 a month, $1,450 a month, plus $350 a month for the roof. It's an all-metal roof, not bad.
He is doubling his mortgage payment for 2 depreciating assets. I think a lot of people would be pretty psyched with $1,400 to $1,800 a month for their mortgage payment now. If you saw any of my previous videos, people are paying $3,000, $4,000 and still doubling your monthly payments because of those couple vehicles. And it's not surprising we see a whole bunch of videos like this, people not being able to afford it anymore.
We bought a $40,000 car that we absolutely could not afford and had to trade it in 9 months later. In 2021, we walked into a car dealership in Kansas City and we walked off the lot with a 2021 Toyota Highlander that we absolutely could not afford. We had zero business buying that car, but yet somehow they still let us walk off the lot with it. We were making decent money and getting by at that time. I had a 1-year-old and I was pregnant with my second daughter and needed a mom car. No, I didn't, newsflash. About 6 months after that, we moved to Montana and pretty much started over our entire lives. So we couldn't afford that payment anymore. We were paying $750 a month for this car. And to put that in perspective, our mortgage in Kansas City was $850. Everything was much more expensive up here and we weren't making the same income we were making in Kansas City at first. So we decided to just go ahead and trade it in. We took the hit and learned the lesson. Honestly, I don't regret getting out of that situation.
So we have a couple of things right off the bat. The payment for a Toyota Highlander, nothing super extravagant and fancy, was still double their mortgage payment again. The other thing with the dealerships letting them walk off the lot, of course they're going to do that. Their job is to try to extract as much money out of you for their vehicle as they possibly can. They're going to get more commission, their sales are going to go up, they're going to look a lot better. So even if they were teetering on the edge of affording it or not, you're still going to get approved. Looking at some of the comments from this video is a little iffy as well. I don't know if anyone doesn't know about this, but don't ever buy a car from a dealership. Buy from Carvana or Ruby Car, which I've never heard of before. I guess it's just another one of those companies. Then there's a lot of replies to that. I've heard horror stories about Ruby Car. Did you get your registration and permanent plates before temps expired? I've also heard a whole ton of stories about Carvana, along with them possibly going bankrupt. Very weird financials they have as well. I'm bored and nosy. I want to know what mom car you drive. Same thing as the last clip. She has a 2018 Ford Explorer paying $515 a month. Right off the bat, a crazy one. 2024 RS Traverse for $1,100 a month. 2021 Wrangler that is paid off did 0% for 36 months, but then became $860. Literally about killed me. Creeping on almost $1,000 for a Wrangler. 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander paying another $1,100 a month. Best friggin' investment? And then the reply to that, is this a joke? I mean, I know Toyotas are more reliable than most other brands right now, but still $1,100 a month for still a depreciating asset doesn't seem like the best investment to me. Here's one that's pretty common right now. I wish mine was a flex, but I want to cry. The $1,378 payment on our 2023 Ram 2500 and another $500 for a 2021 Kia K5. We can't get rid of either because they're both upside down. Just completely screwed with negative equity, which is just a nicer way of saying in debt. 2021 BMW 228i is still $622 a month with 21% interest. That's getting into the territory of the CLA 250s. They're such small vehicles that you're just paying for the badge on the front and back of the car. At the end of the day, there's nothing really special about them. Even this one, a 2025 Honda Pilot Sport, is $864 a month for a Honda. This stuff's beginning to be too much for me, but we have a comment from one of you guys who finances for 84 months. Holy crap, keeping up with the Joneses, I guess. And that is becoming increasingly more common in today's world.
Bro, when did the car market get cooked? People are getting $1,800 a month car payments for 84 months and that's normal? Like, this person is financing $102,000 and then paying $54,000 in interest over the lifetime of this car note. And again, it's 12.74% for 84 freaking months. Now, we just got the latest data on auto loan delinquencies, and you can see right here that over the past decade, auto loan delinquencies are up about double what they were 10 years ago.
60-day delinquencies, and what we're showing you here is average transaction prices, which, by the way, at more than $48,000, that's what you and I are paying at a dealership on average. Almost at a record high. According to Experian, 60-day auto loan delinquencies at an all-time high of 0.99% of all open loans that they were checking. 30-day auto delinquencies also close to a record high, highest since the recession in 2008 and 2009 at 3.17%.
It's not really surprising seeing all-time highs when it comes to delinquencies in the car repo videos that I've made, because these monthly payments are absolutely insane, and everything that we've seen in this video has not included insurance. That has basically only gone up for the past several years, and with all the new tech in each one of these cars and making it more and more difficult to repair, it makes it easier for the insurance companies to just keep upping the price, because if you get into an accident and need something repaired, it's going to be more expensive now compared to any time in the past.
How is a Ford Maverick $43,000? Like, how did Ford manage to do that, right? Look at that, $43,000. I really want to know who's buying a Tremor Maverick, right? Because you're not good in the good MPG, right? Look at that, 23 combined, 23 MPG for this tiny little thing. This thing's tiny. Is that even, like, what is that, 4 feet? But 43 grand and it gets 23 MPG. When the hybrid ones get almost 38 MPG. So literally, who's going to buy the Tremor one when you want this one? But then Ford also messed up because who's buying this one when it's almost $30,000 and they promised it was going to be a $20,000 truck when it came out?
Here's what's really crazy. If you were to buy that Bronco for $41,000 and a second Bronco for $41,000 and let's say a C5 Corvette, then if you were to take all of that together, you could actually, for the same price, purchase this Ford Bronco Raptor. Is it worth 2 Bronco bases in the C5 Corvette for the same vehicle?
The trim levels coming out now are just absolutely absurd. The crazy uptick in price for the exact same vehicle compared to the base model that still isn't cheap to begin with. Take for example the Ford Maverick that was supposed to be a $20,000 pickup truck, but it ends up being $30 or possibly $40 for the higher end version. So I'm not holding my breath with the new Slate truck that is promised again to be around $20,000, because it seems like every time an affordable vehicle is supposed to be coming out, at the end of the day when it hits the lot, it is way more expensive.
Every day I go back and forth with myself about getting a new car. I want a new car so bad, but I have been car payment free for 3 years now.
Don't buy that new car. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know it's cooler than your current car, and it has like all the bells and whistles, and it has the colored interior, and it just looks cooler, and you want to feel cooler, and you want to feel like you're it, but don't do it.
We have another clip here. Social media convinced you that your car wasn't good enough, so you got a car payment, and that's just one more nail in the coffin for your marriage and family being taken down by money stress to impress people who don't care. But I think one of the comments from this video nails it right on the head. Nobody listened to her. In parentheses, I am a car salesman. They do not care at all. They're going to make you try to feel a certain way, make you feel like you need the luxury version of whatever model you're looking at. You deserve it. You've earned it. Blah, blah, blah. They'll say anything. And I make these kinds of videos to hopefully scare some people away when they see the 4-figure marks for these cars. But still, some people get sold either way from clips like this.
Honestly, this is my favorite car in our lineup, the 25 Genesis G80. I just love how it looks. Honestly, I prefer our 4 cylinders over our 6 cylinders. It feels faster, to be honest with you. 300 horsepower. This Capri Blue, this is gorgeous. This camel interior just looks like me. You know what I mean? It's just so nice. Full 27-inch screen. It's just so comfortable. I would 100% take this over any Mercedes E-Class. Just 100%.
Sure you would, man. Just lying and saying anything for the sale at the end of the day. And one of the comments I thought was pretty funny, go see the resale value and you're not going to like it much after that. The Genesis brand as a whole's resale value is absolutely through the floor. And it's because they end up having a lot of problems. At the end of the day, it is a company owned by Hyundai. And we have a comment from one of you guys with your experience. I worked as a tech at a Genesis dealership. The GV60s were getting a new recall nearly once every month. And when you test drove any of the cars, warnings would happen all of the time, even if not needed. I was driving down the road for a test drive and I got a warning from a car in another lane driving 30 feet behind me. But it doesn't matter. They want you to pay top dollar pricing, and as soon as you drive it off the lot, there goes thousands of dollars. We have another clip from this trend. Tell me your wildest car dealership stories. Not they sold the car before I got there. I mean the really wild stuff. And the first one, during COVID, my credit score was over 750, a homeowner with 2.9% interest rate, no credit debt, and the dealer was trying to sell me a car with 18% interest rate. They wouldn't give me my license or key back unless I bought their car, so I had to call the cops, and then they tried to ruin my credit. I wanted a Nissan Juke and was already pre-approved from the bank to cover it. Went to the dealership and this guy was training a new kid and was full of himself, told the new kid in front of me that I needed a Rogue because I was too big for the Juke. The Rogue is more suited for you. The dealership took my friend's car they were trading in for a test drive, hit a deer, and totaled it. Then they didn't want to give him the money anyway. That ended with a lawsuit. These are crazy. At my old job, they hired a new finance manager, and when customers were in his office, he was making them put more down without putting it in the deal and was pocketing it and scammed almost $80,000 in 2 weeks. Here's another one, very similar story. They refused to give me my keys after I said I wasn't interested in the Kia and went to go look at Subarus. I told them I'd call the cops if they didn't give it back to me, and the cops got called. I guess they really will do anything for the sale. But if you do end up buying one of these new vehicles, especially any of the luxury stuff, this is probably what's going to happen to you at the end of the day.
So I'm calling about the Maserati that you were trying to get rid of. Break it down for me if you don't.
It is $20K upside down, you told me. I have great credit, so it's like $750. I do have money down, but obviously based on the situation I talked to you about,
Yeah.
I would like to not put so much down if I don't have to, just because I don't know what the future looks like right now.
So you owe around 41,000. Wholesale on that car is between, like I said, that range is going to be between 20,000 to maybe 23 on the top end. So you are 20,000 upside down. Here's the problem, right? You got great credit, you got good income. I know you're trying to move. The problem is unless you put a significant amount of money down, your negative equity is going to transfer over to a different car. So then if you're buying a newer car, it's going to depreciate. That will put you in an even worse situation because typically you'll have more negative equity. So it's just like eating this consistent. It's just if you ever, any lesson you take from this, never buy a Maserati. Always lease it.
Yeah, I've learned that.
Never buy a Maserati.
It's horrible. I had a Ghibli and I had this one, but the Ghibli crashed. I got in an accident on my way back from Texas, and it was considered totaled because it was so expensive to fix minor little issues.
Right.
It was just scratched, but it cost more than what it was worth.
So you decided to go do it all over again? She lost $100,000 off of that tiny SUV. Some of the comments, $130,000 for a Jeep Grand Cherokee with leather, because it is a Stellantis vehicle, even though it's supposed to be special Italian luxury design, blah, blah, blah. Unless you're a millionaire, you should never buy a Maserati. They aren't reliable. Maintenance is extremely expensive, and they don't hold their value at all. The cost of fake flexing, I mean, she also said that she could barely afford it too. I mean, what am I supposed to say? Because then you go to the opposite end, what is supposed to be more of a smart decision, getting a more reliable economy car like a Honda or a Toyota. We saw the 2025 Pilot was apparently $860 a month, and then we could look at the new 4Runners.
The brand new 4Runner has a massive sales issue, and I want you guys to notice what I've been noticing on my For You page when it comes to this vehicle. All these videos came on my For You page in almost consecutive scrolls, which tells me that if there are this many salespeople and this many dealerships posting videos about them trying to sell these things, that there is an issue. No one wants them. And the problem is very simple. They're priced too high for what they are. $72,000 for a Toyota 4Runner. $66,000 for a 4Runner. You are getting above BMWs and Mercedes in the exact same general mid-size SUV category. And the other thing not helping the sales out is the engine in this thing. It's the first year that Toyota is using the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder to power this thing. So you've got a brand new engine that no one's ever seen before, plus increasing the prices on these things and making them not competitive when it comes to other vehicles in the same segment.
So you have all the luxury cars with astronomical prices, and then you're underwater virtually immediately. So you try to go to the other side and buy an economy car that's supposed to be more reliable because the American stuff is pretty iffy right now. And then it's $60,000 or $70,000 for a 4Runner. And then the Honda Pilot is basically the same thing. It's Honda's version of the 4Runner. So really nobody could afford these new vehicles, and that's why you see clips like this.
When I say everybody, I mean everybody is leasing cars now. I can't even remember when was the last time I did an actual finance deal on a new car. Now, the reason why leasing has grown in popularity is because you can put little to no money down and still have a manageable car payment. If you think about it, a lot of the cars that people want, they're $30,000 to $40,000. Financing a $30,000 to $40,000 car with $2,000 to $3,000 down, your payment's still crazy. When you lease a car, you're only paying for a portion of the vehicle, which means that you can be in a more expensive car at a lesser payment. Usually to get to a low payment, you have to put a crazy amount of money down, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 down on that new car. Also, cost of living is going up, and it's just easier to maintain a lower monthly payment, and then also to be able to have a low monthly payment and swap out your car every 3 years is like a win-win. Yes, when you lease a car, it's like running a car, but a lot of people don't actually care to pay a car off. They're used to having a monthly car payment every single month. Now, I don't actually think there's anything wrong with that. If you don't have a long-term plan to keep a car, leasing is probably your absolute best bet.
So I will say he's saying this because this is another car salesman, so it'll be a much better deal for him if you come into the dealership every couple of years to renew a lease and get another car payment and basically give them money for the rest of your life. But I think one of the other issues that he touched upon is that your payments will be lower with a lease, so you could get into a more expensive car, because initially he was talking about $30,000 or $40,000, which we're getting into the $40,000 to $50,000 now. But as soon as somebody sees that, oh, maybe they could do $60,000 $60,000, $70,000, or $80,000 on the lease. There are a lot of people teetering on the edge just renting that vehicle now because they get to be in a Mercedes SUV. And as I've said in every one of these videos, if you truly do have that kind of money and you want to get a car every couple years and you don't actually want to own any of these things, that's completely fine. Go get a G-Wagon and then a Cullinan and then whatever other Lamborghini something, right? But a vast majority of the people doing this in any of the clips watching my video aren't that unbelievably wealthy. So this is a very easy way to just be in the rat race for the rest of your life. I was going to say losing a couple $100s a month, but probably at least $500 to $600, $700, including insurance on the vehicle. You're going to be doing that for 50, 60, 70 years of your life. Do you know how much money that'll be? It really is truly unbelievable to me. And I mean, we can look at some of the comments here. You'll own nothing and be happy. The same issue where everything becomes a subscription now. We don't actually ever own anything. You're going to rent your car forever and get a brand new one and feel good every few years. While the prices are still going to just keep going up. The next one is what I said, lease only if you're a millionaire. Leasing keeps you poor, buy a cheap car. But nobody wants to drive around in a 15-year-old Civic. You look like a poor person compared to everybody else. But then in turn, you actually stay poor, especially if you're trying to switch out cars constantly. But no matter how many times I try to beat this into people's heads, we have another comment, by the time I pay it off, I don't want it anymore. So the classic American consumerism is just keeping these dealerships alive. I mean, look at this lease.
So this actually is the real deal on a 7 Series, 740i xDrive, $12.99 due at signing, so just your first month's payment, $12.99 a month. This includes BMW loyalty and Indiana taxes and fees, but if you're in a different state or different area, we can go ahead and adjust that to account for your state tax and fees.
$1,300 a month to rent that BMW. I know it's a 7 Series, it's one of the top of the line sedans for the company. It's not the top trim though. 740 is actually on the lower end, so you get even more expensive, but you're paying $1,300 a month because if you've ever looked at any of these cars that are just a few years old, the depreciation is unbelievable with the 7 Series. So again, if you're a millionaire and you like it, this is completely fine for you, but I don't think too many people who could genuinely afford this is watching a video advertising it on TikTok. Here we have a comment, $12.99 for 3 years is $46,764. And then you mentioned the limit is only 7,500 miles a year, which is almost 23,000 miles at the end. That's a massive ripoff, spending nearly $50,000 to be able to drive only 22,000 miles. I guess that's the price for keeping up with the Joneses for some people, because you still have others thinking that this is one of the ways to show off, especially if you want to find a girlfriend or a wife. I don't know. I thought we were getting past that, but clearly that's not the case for some people.
So I'm 27, single. I live in Austin, Texas. The home prices out here are astronomical. I'm in baby step 3B. I've saved up about $50,000 for that down payment, and I have about $10,000 in an emergency fund. And my good buddy Roy has been saying for a long time, Kevin, ain't no one is going to want to date you when you're driving that old Honda Accord. You need to get you a sports car.
What?
Your good buddy Roy is an idiot.
Oh, man.
I love Roy. I really do.
I do too, but Roy don't know how to pick a woman. If a woman is going to come to you because of the car you drive, you're not going to get much of a woman.
Oh, man.
That's
yeah,
a word.
I pretty much agree with you. Wisdom in a multitude of counsels. I'm going around.
Dude, I was on my
this is the
third date
question,
with
though.
my wife in a 1974 Monte Carlo, and we went. I was telling her that I had $2 to my name. And I was telling her someday I'm going to be a millionaire, and we went across the railroad tracks and the muffler fell off my car.
But this kind of stuff is exactly what the manufacturers want you to think, especially if you're a guy, because a lot of the car stuff is mainly a guy thing. Whether it's a sports car, muscle car, big pickup truck, whatever, they're all insane prices now. And you're not going to be able to get a girlfriend. You're going to be single forever if you don't go buy a brand new Mustang. I bet there are tons of people watching this video that know somebody in their life where their vehicle becomes their entire personality. I mean, so much so that I found a user whose entire profile is to sell you replica items, fake designer stuff, whether it's the try-ons through all of her links, whatever, with hundreds of thousands of followers, making a video saying she's got a fake bag, a replica bag, but look, she's in a Porsche. It's insane what consumerism does on the brain. The top comment only makes this worse. Only smart people make smart financial decisions. As you're in either a Porsche Macan or Cayenne, the depreciation on both of those vehicles is just as bad bad as we see in like the 7 Series. Maybe you can make the argument with 911s and vehicles like that, but clearly not a smart financial decision. Now we can get to the point of the video where I've seen polar opposite takes when we're talking about what's happening in the market.
The car market is quietly bankrupting Americans. The average new car payment is now over $700 a month, and that's just the payment. That's not insurance, not gas, not repairs, just the car payment. And it's not because people are buying luxury cars per se, it's because everything is just more expensive. A base model Honda Civic can easily cost over 30 grand, and a Toyota RAV4 can cost over 40 grand. And used cars aren't helping either. Supply is still really low because for a few years no one was buying new cars, so now there aren't enough older cars to go around. And then there's the interest rates where some people are getting hit with 10% or more on financing, so they end up paying $45,000 for a $30,000 car over 6 or 7 years even. And this isn't just about bad choices like many people like to say. Most people just need a car to get to work or to buy groceries or to just live their daily lives. And a lot of people can't afford to just buy a car outright. So the system is now set up to where it takes a massive amount of debt in order to actually own a vehicle, especially if you want it to be any type of reliable. So all in all, the car market is just absolutely bankrupting people. At what point do you think it's going to get to where people just stop buying cars altogether and figure out a different means of doing so?
So that's exactly what we've started to see over the past couple of months. Just tons of videos of dealerships just piled rows and rows of new vehicles, especially when we're talking about manufacturers like Jeeps. There's Grand Wagoneers that are brand new, sitting from 2023 because of everything we heard in this video. Until you see the brand new stats and news coming out for just last month.
Am I the only one that didn't buy a new car last month? Because April sales skyrocketed. According to CNBC, General Motors saw a 20% increase in sales for April of this year compared to April of last year. And they weren't alone. Ford, who marketed their employee pricing program pretty heavily, they saw a 16% year-over-year increase. Hyundai, they saw a 19% increase. Kia was up roughly 14%, and Toyota saw a 10% rise as well.
And then there are just contradictory statements all over. Weird, every dealership in my town is overflowing with new vehicles. Looks like no one's buying them. Everyone getting in before the tariffs hit. How are people affording new cars? The fear of tariffs. Let's go broke on a car real quick. It about sums it up for you. Let's not save a dime and then complain about the payment. Where are people getting money for new cars? I mean, there are many comments like that. I mean, maybe one of the reasons could possibly be co-signers, but that whole situation could go south very quickly.
I had this car for a year or so, and I co-signed with my ex-boyfriend who ended up cheating on me, and I helped him put down $8,000 on the car loan, but he didn't have good credit, and I had decent credit, and I made the deal happen. But now that we're separated, he has a car, he has the car, and hasn't been making payments.
Okay.
And I'm getting affected financially. So I called you to see if there's anything you can do or what recommendations you may have for us.
Okay.
$77,000.
Okay. I would need you'd have to have the car in person in your possession, and then I can buy it from you. And with around that mileage, I mean, how much do you owe on that car, and what's your monthly payment?
I owe about $52,000, and it is $1,150 a month at 17% interest rate.
Well, that's pretty hefty.
Yeah, it is. And he told me he was going to pay it, but he hasn't. And I'm just stuck right now because it's affecting my credit, and I just don't know what to do.
I do truly enjoy making these videos once every few months for myself and you guys as well. Definitely kicks the thought out of my mind of possibly buying a new vehicle in the future. I am completely fine with my paid off Civic just running it into the ground because the amount of money that people are losing are insane. Now, I did want to end off this video with something that I found a little bit interesting that I thought might be a tell of how the car market is going. Just up on screen right now, we have a commercial for a Lamborghini, which clearly everybody knows the brand by now with all the supercars. But if we're talking about the past, they never used to do advertisements for their vehicles. It was something they didn't need to do because the people who would purchase Lamborghinis weren't sitting in front of the TV or on their phone, but it seems like they've switched it up a little bit. Some of the comments also realize this too. First Lamborghini ad I've ever seen. Since when does Lamborghini do ads? Desperate times. You know the economy is bad if Lamborghini Lamborghini are doing advertisements when they said we don't do commercials because our target audience isn't sitting around watching television. I don't really know how I feel about this, if they feel the need to advertise, especially on TikTok, for their supercars. Hopefully that means the car market is turning and we won't see crazy high payments like we did today. But that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.